It's just the most extraordinary story, this, Sean. And we still don't know the full extent of the damage, but certainly it has definitely caused a lot of embarrassment to the US so far. Let's just look in more detail, if we can, at what these documents look like and what potentially some of them reveal.
One of the things that's been perplexing most military analysts is how a 21-year-old with a security clearance, but relatively simple, managed to get hold of some top-secret documents, then print them out, and where there's not just like printing off here or back at home, there are very complicated procedures for printing off any secret documents. Now that we've actually got photographs of the documents itself, now we can actually start to talk to us a bit more. A picture we've got here, which is a lot of the information's been blurred out quite deliberately because actually some of it's still confidential.
Right.
And although these are 2 months old, we've left a map on because we use maps regularly for broadcasting terms. But I'll draw your attention right to the top. It talks about Russia-Ukrainian Joint Staff's brief. Now, what this is at the very senior levels of the US military, the senior generals will get a daily brief from all of the ops, intelligence, logistics folks for all the key operational areas in the world. So Ukraine, potentially any areas like China, North Korea and stuff like that. This is one of the briefings that they will have been given on a daily basis, sometimes several times a day. Now, normally those briefings are given in a digital format, in other words, like a PowerPoint presentation. But most senior officers like to be able to make notes as well. So they give them a little pack of hard copy, which they can make notes, which of course should be collected at the end of the event. Now, hold on to that thought for a moment. Very difficult for a 21-year-old to get hold of the electronic version. And even if he did, why wouldn't he not share an electronic version with his mates online? Far easier if he had access to that briefing room after those seniors had left. Some of the seniors had taken out some of the pages they'd written notes on, and he was able to pick up scraps from that briefing room. He'd fold them up. You can see how the folds on this that he would then pop in his jacket pocket. And that would explain why there's a load of different unconnected documents that go back several months in an apparently random fashion. And therefore, this is probably less about him securing it digitally, more about him harvesting paper copies and sharing them with his colleagues.
Now, of course, it's been a huge breach of national security for the US, its allies, and crucially, Ukraine, which is in a live war situation. Details of this amount of air defence systems it has left, highly sensitive stuff that could really harm them operationally. What have we learned, and what does it mean?
When I first saw some of the details, I was mortified because it's about the vulnerabilities of the Ukrainians. It's how well prepared they were for their operations. But intelligence is very time sensitive. And therefore, a lot of this information was back from January in the year. And as you've quite rightly said, let's use an example of the air defence systems at Kyiv. They were saying...
Which are crucial right now.
They're crucial.
They're being
shorter
hit all the time.
missiles, and what are we going to do about it? But actually, if you look back, part of those documents, one of the reasons those documents are generated are to go to the international community to get them to donate more missiles. So that's not a problem anymore. What you're looking at is a part of the process from weeks, maybe months ago, that highlights a problem, and therefore that alerts the communities to correct it. And that's one of the reasons why the US concerns... There are lots of US concerns about Ukrainian counter-offensive and lots of other things. But if you look back, all of those, to my knowledge, have now been resolved. So there's actually, whilst at face value it's worrying, in reality it's not that concerning.
And of course there's also been leaks that are potentially concerning for the Ministry of Defence here as well, revealing that UK Special Forces are working in Ukraine. What more can you tell us about this?
First of all, the UK never comments on whether the Special Forces, where they're operating, when they're operating, why they're operating. They are an elite military capability for our nation. They usually go in for a specific thing. They go out and they come out again. The MOD, interestingly, did not verify or cancel or say, no, this wasn't true or was true. What they said was a serious level of inaccuracy about the reports. Almost certainly, whatever was happening on the 1st of March, when this issue came out, almost certainly those situations do not exist today. So I don't know whether SF were there or not, but almost certainly the information out there is no longer valid, no longer credible.